Your name, your address, and your phone number are floating around the internet. Easy for strangers, scammers, and companies you've never heard of to find. Data brokers and shady databases collect and sell your private details to anyone willing to pay, putting you at risk of nonstop spam, scams, and fraud. You can't stop them from collecting data, but you can control who gets to keep it. That's why I use Incogni. They remove your private information from more than 420 of these sites automatically. And with their unlimited plan, you get total coverage. If you spot your personal details anywhere else online, just send them the link, and their privacy experts will get it taken down. It's the easiest, most complete way to protect yourself and personal life. Right now, you can lock in 60% off with my exclusive deal at privacykim.com. Go to privacykim.com right now and start protecting your privacy. This is so important. Privacykim.com. That's privacykim.com.
Welcome to the Kim Commando Show podcast for the weekend of June 22nd, 2024. Thank you for listening to the Kim Commando Show. Here's Hour 1.
I always like to kick things off with something interesting and fun. And earlier this year, they managed the first ever drone delivery to Mount Everest. No, it was not pizza, although that would have been pretty epic. Instead, it was hauling supplies. And instead of using Sherpas, they actually loaded up a DJI Flycart 30. It carried 3 oxygen tanks and 3 pounds of supplies. It buzzed up and down in just 12 minutes. Now, to put this into perspective, round trip for a human being could be as long as 8 hours. Why? Because between the 2 camps, the Everest Base Camp and Camp 1, where the drone went back and forth, is one of the mountain's riskiest stages, the Kahumbu. Obviously, I've never been there. I should go. Kahumbu. Okay. One of the mountain's riskiest stages, the Kahumbu Icefall. Yeah. Obviously, I may not have said that properly because I've never been there, and I don't think I'm going to be making Mount Everest in my lifetime. And I could drone on and on and on about this feat. But let's get this tech party started. I'm Kim Commando, America's beloved digital goddess. It's the biggest show. It's the best show. It's the award-winning show that you can find us on over 420 top stations from coast to coast. And we're streaming in your favorite radio app. And you can also get me as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for my last name, Commando, because you're about ready to get more tech smarts because every single thing is now a tech thing. Just a quick note is that great sponsors help to keep this show possible. So we need you to actually check out and click the links to our sponsors in case you're ever wondering, like, what was that web address that Kim came out? And was it Privacy Kim? Was it Block with Kim? Was it Protect with Kim? Whatever it may be, head over to commando.com/sponsors. That's commando.com/sponsors. That's where you see a list of our sponsors and all of our exclusive money-saving deals. All right, just for you, I check out at least 35 different websites every single day to make sure that we're both up to date. And here are the top 5 things you need to know that's happening in the tech-verse right now. We're going to start with the White House. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre is being taken to the cleaners for telling the world that the series of news videos showing President Biden looking frail or mentally confused are deep fakes. Now, before you sit there and you say, oh, Kim Commando, you're getting political. You hate Joe Biden. You love Joe Biden. You hate Donald Trump. You love Donald Trump, whatever it may be. Okay. We need to talk about deep fakes because she's telling the world that these are deep fakes. She claimed that the news videos taken and shown unedited by dozens of reputable news networks around the world are cheap fakes, manipulated, done in bad faith. At the D-Day and G7 conference, the president looked confused and sometimes lost. Now, the politically neutral Oxford English Dictionary, that's where I went, defines a deep fake video as a digital manipulation that convincingly replaces one person's likeness with another and uses it maliciously to show someone doing something that they did not do. Okay. I'll argue that a newscaster somewhere mischaracterized or unfairly described the videos, but they're not deep fakes. They're not. Moving in on number 2, let's talk about Temu. The parent company of Temu, Pinduoduo, employs a ton of former Chinese Communist Party officials in top positions, according to the New York Post, at least 12 members. And as you know by now, Chinese apps are required by law to turn over all their data to the Chinese Communist Party. So what does Temu collect? Let's think about it. Your name, your address, your phone number, your birthday, your photo, all your social media profiles, your phone or computer's operating system and version, your IP address, your GPS location, and browsing data. It also gathers more about you from third-party sources, from Temu sellers, public records, social media, data brokers, credit bureaus, marketing partners. Okay, the list goes on and on. So the next time you're tempted by those low prices on Temu, it's more than just a deal. Your personal information and possibly our national security is at risk. Moving in on number 3, this is really something. You share your location with friends on Apple Find My or Snapchat, but how can you be sure that you're not sharing it with a predator? 22-year-old Evan Blankenship drove his Camaro into a Blue Ridge Parkway parking lot in North Carolina. He had a gun. There he spotted his target, a woman inside a vehicle with her friend. Evan got out of his car, gun in hand, and pointed at the woman, tried to yank her out by her hair, threatening both her and her friend. When she asked if he planned to rape her, he nodded yes. Then he hit her in the face, and he fired a shot in the air. Okay, it wasn't a random target. He was following this woman for a year on Snapchat and used Snapchat's location-sharing feature, Snap Map, to actually pin down her exact location. This week, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison. So just a good reality check to see who's actually following you on these location-sharing apps and devices. Moving on to number 4, the most valuable company in the world is Nvidia. Whoa, $3.34 trillion. You may know them as they made gaming video cards. So why are they suddenly the richest in the world? Well, let me tell you, a few years ago, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang, really smart guy, made a bet that AI would be the next big thing. And then he thought like graphics processing units, GPUs, would be crucial for artificial intelligence. So that's where he bet the farm on the graphic cards. And these supercomputers located with Nvidia GPUs can sell for $250,000 or more. But I'll tell you, I would never take a job at Nvidia. Never. The people there are way too graphic. Oh, that one hurt. Coming in at number 5, Mindy Jordan walked into a gas station in Texas and she saw something strange. A woman was stuffing hundreds of dollars into a Bitcoin ATM. As she got closer, she saw the woman was also on a video call with a man who was instructing her how to use the ATM and asking to see it. Well, this set off alarms. Mindy asked her, "Hey, ma'am, do you know him?" The woman, stressed out, said, "No, I have to do this right now." Realizing the urgency, Mindy called 911. Sergeant James Stewart arrived shortly after and approached the woman, and this is what he said to her.
Please, I have the bank on the phone.
Okay, let me talk to who you're talking to on the bank.
I'm in danger.
Okay, no, you're not, ma'am.
Okay, he took the phone, he started speaking to the man on the video call, claimed that he was from Chase Bank. The officer didn't buy it. The scammer arranged to pick up this woman at her retirement home and go to the bank where she withdrew $40,000 cash and then drive her to a Bitcoin ATM. Now, by the time that the sergeant showed up, the woman had already deposited $23,900. Poof, gone. Poof. Tell you folks, you have to be really smart and you have to talk to your older adults. Okay, just tell them, hey, listen, if you ever get a request like this, you just need to call me first because I'm going to help you out. All right, we have a great security tip about updates and why you shouldn't sleep next to your phone. And of course, we have more of your phone calls and you have me, Kim Komando. Hey, if you're not already getting my free newsletter, make sure that you sign up right now and join over 500,000 folks who love it. Matter of fact, it has a 4.92 star rating out of 5 stars. It's amazing. Sign up right now over at getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. And if you're already getting the newsletter, make sure you forward it to just one person because they need tech smarts too. That's getkim.com. Kurt in Savannah, Georgia.
Well, I have a friend who is well known in the aviation community who has gone missing this past January 23rd. Missing person reports and so forth have been filed. A lot of people are wondering what happened to her and looking for her. And it's always a possibility that she disappeared, was abducted, or even trafficking. And although she was a little older than a normal trafficking victim, it's a possibility from the statistics I've seen. My question to you was, first of all, is there a way that we can set up an automatic search of the Internet looking for her name after a certain date? And then second of all, if there was a way, God forbid, that she was abducted by sex traffickers or other types of traffickers and her photograph appeared online, is there a facial recognition app or technology of some sort I can use to help find her?
Boy, this is a tough situation, huh?
Yes, it is. There are literally people all over the country looking for her.
What's her name?
Her name is Julie Vesegalt, and she was last seen in Elk Grove, California. She disappeared on just after noon on January 23rd of this year.
Well, let's start at the beginning. Okay. Number one, you asked about automatic alerts. You can set up alerts if you go to google.com/alerts, and that's where you can set up alerts for her name.
All right.
And you said she was in the aviation community, so maybe if she had a tail number, anything like that, you might want to start thinking about other things that you could set up a Google alert for. And basically, you're going to get an email whenever any new information that relates to whatever you set the alert for will appears on the Internet. There are also Internet monitoring services like Social Mention and TalkWalker, and you can pay for these services to say, if anything appears in social media, that you'll be notified through a web alert as well. As far as images, there's PIM eyes, there's tin eyes. That's where you can upload a picture, and then you can see other pictures that may appear on the Internet. So if you have a photo of her face, you can see if her face appears someplace else. Now, a lot of these tools, the FBI has more extensive tools than what are available to the general public, and I assume that you are in touch with somebody at the FBI as well.
Not with the FBI, but Elk Grove Police Department, as well as, we tried to contact the Sheriff's Department. That's another story, but yeah, certainly the police are involved.
Okay, good. One thing that's interesting to me is that on social media, specifically on Facebook, is that there are Facebook groups who are trying to solve crimes, and they're also trying to find missing persons. There's a case that came across my desk this morning about a skull that was found by a little girl in 1983. And this particular Facebook group just found out, who was the woman behind the skull, and then notified the daughter what they found, and they did a whole DNA analysis, and it's true, it is her mother and things like that. Yeah. So there are Facebook groups that actually get together and they try to find missing persons. And of course, speaking of, you have the missing persons networks, National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, the DOE network. And then also on Reddit, there's a subreddit called Missing Persons. And that's where you can share information and request help from the Reddit community. And so, of course, you have, the tech tools, but then you also have these communities of folks that they really want to help and they really want to figure things out. And so you could look, as I mentioned, on Facebook and inside this Reddit community. You may even want to hire a private investigator.
Yeah, I've actually, I have hired a private investigator. He was hamstrung by the same lack of information as the police have been. But and I am aware of at least some of the Facebook groups that you've mentioned. State of California and that whole general area has several that I'm already members of. But thank you for the information. I know there's more out there.
Yeah, and try the Reddit group. Try that.
Okay.
Let's, maybe there's something else. And one more time, why don't we give everybody her name and where she was last seen?
Yeah, her name is Julie Vesegalt. She was last seen on January 23rd, 2024 in Elk Grove, California. She left her apartment right around 12:30, I think it was, and her car was seen once on an automated license plate reader and has not been seen since.
And then how old is she?
She's 47 years old.
And give me a description.
She is, I think is about 5'4", 140 pounds, hazel eyes, brown hair. She tends to wear aviation-themed T-shirts and ball caps. And when she left her apartment, she was wearing jeans, a gray T-shirt with Sacramento Executive on the shirt, and a aviation-themed baseball cap. She also wears thick glasses, and she's can't see well without the glasses.
And so are you just a friend? Are you related to her?
I am not related to her. I am a close friend.
And when's the last time you heard from her?
I last heard from her on January 21st, less than 48 hours before she disappeared.
Well, Kurt, if anybody knows anything about Julie, you can drop me a note through the website. Head over to commando.com. There's a link there that says Ask Kim, and then I'll go ahead and forward anything that you guys and gals can dig up over to Kurt. And Kurt, thanks for your call. And do keep us posted, okay? You know, Maddie actually found a news story online about Julie. Her sister told CBS 13 there in Elk Grove that Julie left behind her purse, her phone, her checks, and cash. We're going to link to this story in this weekend's Sunday newsletter so that this way you can read more about Julie, too. Such a sad story. All right, I got this this question in my listener mail. Is it safe to put my nudes in the cloud? Yeah, you can, but I think it's a no-go for very personal files because if you're using these services, you're probably automatically signed in on all your devices. And what happens if your laptop or your phone is stolen? Okay. And also, the terms and conditions of these cloud services will give the companies permission to analyze your documents. So I would say local storage would be the best case for you. Hey, stay right where you are. We have more of your phone calls and more tips, tricks, and secrets you don't want to miss here on the Kim Commando Show. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise, home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim. All right, still to come, we have the risks that you take if you never update. Yeah, they're out there, the never updaters, that's what we're calling them. And then later on, a big warning about your phone and sleep. And before we get back to all of your phone calls too, if you need to get in shape, no more excuses. I mean, even without a fancy gym membership, you can now have your very own personal trainer with artificial intelligence. Yes, I'm talking about chatbots like ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot. They can create a fitness routine for you in just seconds. Just ask them the right questions or prompts, as we say in AI lingo. For example, you can say, I'm a 40-year-old just getting back into running. Give me a weekly schedule with timings and distances to boost endurance because I want to run a 5K in 2 months or whatever it may be. You can also say, I want to build my upper body strength and feel less tired in the afternoon. What should I do? The AI will whip up exercises, a schedule, and even a meal plan, say heavy on the protein. So here's the deal. If you want to get into fitness and you want your own personal trainer, you should give AI a shot. You really should. Speaking of, Cardi B has a sister who's a fitness instructor. I don't know if you know that. Her name is Cardio. Oh, I know. All right, let's see. Heidi in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Glad to have you with us.
So, Kim, I signed up for the Hit 'em Up app. Are you familiar with that one?
Is that the one that does text messaging?
Yes.
Okay.
So the minute I signed up, I realized just how much information they got from me from all my contacts and everything, and it just scares me to death. Is this a good app? Is this a not so good app? I'd kind of like to get rid of it because I don't want all that information out there.
Well, it's always something, right? And it's especially awful when an app wants to just suck in all of your contacts. And that's what it does. I mean, it says, can we have access to your contacts? And you're like, yeah, that's okay. But you know what, Heidi? You just gave away the farm, okay, for your contacts, as well as you just gave away all your friends' contacts to who knows who and what they're going to do with that and who's going to sell that. And that's always the bad part, especially when you start sharing other people's information. And a lot of people are even freaked out, like, for example, with security cams, is that with Google, for example, they'll call it familiar faces. And so then familiar faces, in the back end, it's like, okay, well, now they're scanning not only my face, but now all my friends' faces, and where are all those faces going? So you just gave away all your contacts and all of their information. So can you get that information back that you've already given them? You can ask. You can try. You can remove the app, right? You just go tap and hold on the app and hit the X until it goes away. Go into your settings and then privacy and contacts and make sure that the app no longer has access. You can do the same thing on Android. You just want to look at permissions. Now, what you can do is go over to the website and for the app, hit them up, and look for anything that says support or help. And you can email their support team and you can ask them to remove your data. Now, whether or not they're going to do this, right, it's kind of up to them and it's up to their discretion. And so, we can go ahead and send you like a sample note, for example. You're just writing to request the deletion of all the personal data, contact information associated with my account with the app. And, if they are a good, honorable, reputable company, they'll say, hey, not a problem. We're happy to do that. But the bottom line here, though, is that you gave away all your contacts. I don't mean to keep smacking you across the face before this or hitting your hand with a ruler like the nuns used to do to me, is that once the data is out there, it's not like you can go, oh, I want it all back, because you don't know what they did with that data or where that data ended up. And so that's why it's really important that you look at privacy policies and deletion requests for any type of app that will request access to, say, your photos, your contacts, whatever it may be. Why don't you hang on the line and we'll send you over that sample little paragraph that you can use to ask this particular app to delete all your data. And never do that again, girlfriend. Never, ever. If you have any questions about an app, you're wondering how it's used, don't forget you can always reach out to me. I'm always here for you. Oh, Rick in Savannah, Georgia. Does not seem like it's going to be a great call.
I am a victim of a pig butchering scam. I was contacted through the WhatsApp by a woman, and I was convinced to invest $10,000, which I did, and then we did trade in gold options, and it actually showed a profit, and I withdrew some of the profits, a total of about $3,300, but then they put a freeze on my account saying that I had to increase my trading volume.
Okay.
Now, she also put $20,000 into my account to bring it up to $30,000 and wanted me to put another $30,000 into it in order to trade at a more lucrative level. And I refused to do it. And now I can't get my money back.
Okay. So how can I help you?
I was wondering if you could tell me how I could get them to unfreeze my account or how I could get the money back.
You can't. You're not going to be able to get your money back. And by the way, when you were showing a profit, that was all staged, phony baloney trades. For her to put $20,000 in, that was phony. They can manipulate these screens to look like anything. And it may look like they're giving you money. It may look like they're investing, but they're not. I mean, you can contact your bank. They may be able to do some trace from that transaction. I assume that you probably wire transferred some money into there. You can file a police report. I mean, that may be another option. Of course, you're going to file a complaint with the FTC, the Internet Crime Complaint Center. You mentioned gold, so maybe the Commodity Futures Trading Commission and the SEC. There are companies that will say, hey, we're going to help you get your money back. Okay. I've never heard of anyone actually getting their money back. Never really have heard about this really working. And so what you want to do is make sure that anytime somebody contacts you on WhatsApp and some woman says she's got a great way for you to make money, I mean, now you're out at least $10,000. You got $3,300 back of your own money, by the way, and then they escalated it so that this way maybe you could give them another 20 grand or 10 grand or whatever else that they wanted. Unfortunately, there's not a lot that you can do at the end of a pig butchering scam. I mean, you get in there and you get greedy, and that's why they call it a pig butchering scam, because they slaughter you because you get greedy. You get to be like a pig. You want more and more and more. And it's just a sad state of affairs that this is the world that we live in, and people are trying to scam you left and right. And so, you've got to be astute. You've got to be alert. You have to be smarter than this. And, nobody in the world is going to contact you on WhatsApp and tell you that you can make X percent of money on gold futures. Okay? Who are they? What's their background? Where are they from? Are they registered with the SEC? No, nothing. All of these are red flags, folks. And, you just can't give in to them. You really. And if you're listening right now and maybe you're watching the show, whatever it may be, is that I want you to really think about this. If you are involved, to just say no and to just stop. Think. Okay. If it's too good to be true, it is. I'm sorry, there's no magical cure to get your money back. You lost it. So many scams. All right, the Pew Research Center says about 40% of us set our phones to update automatically. That's great. But the never updaters, 3% of you that never update at all. Okay, here's the thing. It's a big risk, okay? The phones update to patch security issues and bugs. I mean, think of all the banking info, private pics, and work that you have on your phone. So you want to make sure that your phone updates automatically. Just do it. Just do it. On Android, go into Settings, System Update. Pretty much on the iPhone too. Setting instead of settings, and then Software Update. And just on both, toggle on automatic updates. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls and more tips that you don't want to miss here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, James in Houston, Texas. Hi, James.
I certainly am a fan of your program and have enjoyed listening over the last 2-3 years and have actually learned quite a number of things that have helped me. I'm certainly not an IT person, but they have helped me, and had one in particular here just 2-3 weeks ago that where you had made a comment about Google was going to a new system or philosophy where that AI was going to support the system more.
Yes, it's called AI Overview. And so now when you look something up on Google, is that instead of it giving you a whole list of various websites for you to go check it out, is that AI Overview will just show up and then say, oh, here's the information that you needed. And so you don't have to go anywhere.
And so what kind of my interest was our church has a website, and we've had a number of folks that have said that they were actually visiting us because of them seeing it on our website. And so I didn't know if that would result in less traffic for our site and then less people seeing us. And would there be some way to kind of get around this or address this as far as a strategy?
Well, it's a great question because web traffic as a whole is decreasing. And because less people need to go to Google to look anything up, whether they're using ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot or whatever it may be, right? And so if less people are going to Google, then that's going to translate into less traffic for your site. So what else can you do? I would make sure that your church is listed under on Google Maps and also Apple Maps. Okay, and make sure that the listing is accurate. Put some great photos up there. Do regular updates. I would also ask the members of the church to write a great review on Google Maps and on Apple Maps. Because the more information that you can get out there that's positive about you, and the more people that are saying, yeah, this is a great church, is that'll tell the algorithms and the AI that, wow, this is really someplace that a lot of people like in Houston. And if somebody goes to AI and asks, I need this type of church in Houston, Texas, that's going to be like, oh, well, this church has all these hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews, okay? Social media is going to become really more important. And especially live streaming. So I'm sure with the church, you're already live streaming. If you're not already making shorts and reels for social media, that would also be something that I would encourage you to do. And then, of course, go ahead.
I'm sorry. We have done some of that, the live streaming and stuff.
Yeah, and, live streaming, but also create the shorts and the reels because those are, those, I'm talking about like 15-second, 30-second. 1-minute videos that you can put all over social media. And then I would also look and try to really engage the local community more, meaning that if you could do any type of meetups, any events, and really tailor them to a specific demographic. So we're going to have meetups for people who are retired, people who are new parents, people who are single. Okay. And so that this way you start building more branches into the local community because I'm telling you, folks, it's happening now. Web traffic is decreasing. And if you are dependent upon a website for your income, you really have to sit back. And I want you to think about what if the Google search goes away? What if the organic search goes away? We just rolled out a brand new website, by the way. So you can head over to commando.com. That's Komando, commando.com. You might be saying, well, Kim, if the web's going away, why did you just build a new website? Well, if you look at our website, it's a lot different than the site before. You start seeing little nuggets of information, just like social media, you can scroll. Because I think the days of having long articles with all the pop-up ads and the video ads and everything overtaking it, those days are long gone too. So start thinking critically about the future of your business, again, if it depends on the web. All right. One word of advice from the fire department is that if you're sleeping, don't charge your phone at the same time. Why? Smartphone batteries, even the new ones, they can and they do explode. Now, you can't smell fire when you're sleeping. So if your phone starts to burn, you wouldn't even know it's happening. Super scary. Now, cell phone batteries have been known to blow up for a multitude of reasons. Okay. Maybe they overheat. Maybe you dropped your phone and you damaged the battery. And sometimes it's just normal wear and tear depending upon the phone. And I know so many of you charge your phone next to your bed. It's super convenient, especially if you use your phone as an alarm clock. The problem, you really don't have any time, folks, to react if your device just starts on fire. So it's safer to charge your phone when you're up and about. And then if you do have to charge your phone when you're sleeping, make sure it's on the other side of the room or charge it in the bathroom, whatever it may be. Just some really good advice right there. Hey, do me a solid and make sure that you sign up for my free newsletter. You can do so over at getkim.com. Just 5 minutes a day and you have all the tech smarts that you need for that day. Over 500,000 folks love my free newsletter and you will too. Sign up now at getkim.com.
Thanks for listening to The Kim Komando Show. Here's Hour 2.
These TikTok challenges, oh my gosh. 2 Florida 15-year-old boys got caught trying to do the TikTok door kick challenge. The door kick challenge. The idea is that you walk up and you knock in someone's door in the early hours with your foot, maybe even breaking it down. The boys went up to 4 houses and they kicked on the doors, causing massive damage, they say, probably just scaring the pants out of everyone who was home. And worse, the kids could have been killed because what if somebody had a gun? Like, oh, what's going on here? What's going on here? Now they face 4 counts of burglary. Internet clout is just not worth it, folks. It's just not worth it. Talk about door key Oh, that one even hurt me. And on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. I'm Kim Commando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you. It's the biggest show. It's the best show. It's the most trusted show about all things digital. And you're about ready to get more tech smarts because every single thing is now a tech thing. And you can find my award-winning show, Trusted Show, on over 420 top stations across the country. And you can also find us on the American Forces Network radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force in 175 different countries. Now, throughout the show, I give out various sponsor web addresses. And I know it can get confusing to try to remember and write them all down. So that's why we set up a handy dandy place for you to just go one spot and you get all the links and all the discounts over at commando.com/sponsors. That's commando.com/sponsors, which, by the way, we have a brand spanking new website you're going to love. Yes, you ought to check it out. commando.com/sponsors. All right. Every single day, I do it, come rain or shine, weekday, weekend, national holiday, as I go to at least 35 different websites to make sure that you and I are both up to date with what's happening in the whole consumer tech space. And here are the top 5 things you need to know right now. And we're going to start with something that you're going to want to share with somebody. Get this. The average person spends 6 days a month on their smartphone. 6 days a month on your phone. And if you do the math, that ends up being 12 years over a lifetime. So with that in mind, what is the fastest growing phone right now? What is it? Is it the brand new iPhone because it's going to have AI baked in and everybody wants it? Is it a brand new Samsung Fold that you just keep folding it until it fits in the front pocket of your jeans? Nope, not at all. Care to guess? It's the flip phone. Gen Z and younger millennials are a new generation who says they're just tired of staring at a screen. They're burned out with social media and they're tired of all the distractions. So they have discovered flip phones. Searches for flip phones are surging more than 15,000%. Oh my gosh. And Motorola is right there turning out a new version of the Razr phone for just $700 each. Moving on to number 2. Let's think about warning labels. Where do we have them? On hair dryers, don't use it in the bathtub, cigarettes, alcohol, some over-the-counter medicines. And should they be on social media too? Well, last week in the New York Times, Surgeon General Vivek Murtha wrote an op-ed that social media isn't safe for kids. Oh my gosh. It's a contributor to mental health problems. The data tells us that kids who spend 3 or more hours a day on social media risk anxiety, depression. So here's a solution. Let's put a warning label on social media. Let's do this. Okay. What a dumb idea. Let me tell you. What we need to do is to force the social media companies to stop showing 13-year-old girls and boys sexual videos and stop playing with those algorithms. Why don't we put the blame on the social media companies? Why don't we have an educational campaign for parents? Why don't we have that? A warning label? It's not going to do anything. Moving on to number 3, listen up if you're trying to lose some weight. Ozempic is so much in demand that some people are having trouble finding it. So guess who's out there selling it? The scammers. That's right. McAfee recently reported a 183% increase in phishing scams targeting people interested in weight loss drugs like Ozempic between January and April. They found 207 fake Ozempic ads online. Scammers are posing as doctors offering Wegovy, semaglutide, Ozempic, whatever it is, without prescription. Now, the bottom line is always see a doctor, okay? I know you don't need a prescription for some of these weight loss drugs that you can get at the local med spa or whatever it may be. But you know what? You really need to see a doctor, okay? And also, don't trust these so-called experts on social media when they say, oh, I took this and I lost 15 pounds in a month. No. Okay. Just go see your doctor. Maybe you can get insurance to pay for it. Do that. My sister told me that she's really sad because she put on a bit of weight. She is. And I told her, keep your chins up. I wonder why she hates me. Moving on to number 4, adults who like to play with toys, listen up because you want to check your attic because 90s toys are now a gold mine according to the Daily Mail. Pokemon cards. A single card can go for up to $299,000. Wow, 300 grand. It's for a shadowless Charizard. I don't know what that is because I don't play Pokemon. I guess it's super rare. If you have a copy of Super Mario 64, if it's factory sealed, it could be worth over $1.5 million. Wow. What about those DVD and VHS recorders, the combo units? You remember those? They can sell for $200 or more because they're pretty tough to find. Finally, this coming in at number 5. It's kind of a strange kind of toy. It uses artificial intelligence, has a lot of technology baked right in. It could be your next girlfriend or wife, someone who meets all your needs. She's beautiful, she's funny, she's smart, she never complains. She always listens to you. And she tells you, oh my gosh, you're so wonderful, you're so great. She does the dishes, and she knows exactly what you want underneath the sheets. She's a Chinese sex robot. That's right. Star Perry Technology, based in China, says they're on the cutting edge of a new generation of sex dolls. They're developing a language using AI for their dolls to talk to you. They come with more sensors. They say they can connect with you on a deeper level, and they know so much about you. And these robots can actually help with the chores. They can do the dishes. Wow. Isn't that something? No word on price yet. God, what a world. What's going on? What is happening to us as a society? All right, coming up, we're going to talk about some ways that you can track your local air quality. You can save big on subscriptions by using a library card. Even if you haven't been to a library in a long time, you can still save a lot of money. Also, how to track your moods to unlock a happier you. And of course, we have your phone calls, and you have me, Kim Commando. Hey, if you haven't already, make sure that you sign up for my free newsletter over at getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. Join over 500,000 folks who get tech smart the easy and fun way. And if you already get my newsletter, just go ahead, forward it, send it to one person, just one person who you know needs to be alerted to all the scams, the data breaches, and they need to know more about their phones and computers and smart stuff and routers. I mean, the list goes on and on. Once again, sign up right now over at getkim.com. Victoria in Birmingham, Alabama. Hi, Victoria.
So I had sent in a form because a coworker of mine, she's like the mother of our department where I work at.
Okay.
And so we really care about her, but she's recently started bringing up this man that she's met on Facebook, and apparently he's from Canada and he's working in Dubai, but she's convinced that she's madly in love with this man who she's known for maybe about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And
for 2 weeks. Okay.
Yes, 2 weeks. And he's made her a lot of promises, like sending her pictures of things that he's bought her and, piles of money, expensive jewelry. He proposed, he moved their conversations from Facebook to WhatsApp, which is kind of why I wanted to reach out to you because I never listened to talk radio, but I tuned in one day and you kind of hit exactly on her situation. And we tried talking to her and, pointing out kind of the obvious signs on how this could be a scam. And it's just really not getting through to her. He proposed to her on WhatsApp, and it just seems all extreme, but she's just kind of blindsided.
Yeah, Victoria, I'm so glad that you called me because this is all the classic signs of a romance scam. Okay.
Yes.
The fact that, she's in Alabama, he's from Canada, he's working in Dubai and showing all kinds of pictures and creating this fantasy of a life that they can have together. And, moving from Facebook to WhatsApp because it's encrypted communications and it's hard to break through. And you have to look at maybe some inconsistencies of her stories in order to point things out. what I would do is try to get some, maybe with these pictures, say, hey, you know what, can you send me some of those pictures? Because I'd like to see them. And then you upload that picture. You upload that picture into, yes, exactly. So you're going to upload that picture onto Google Images and then see where else it appears on the internet. You can also ask for his name, any other details that he provided to see if he is legit. I'm telling you, he's not. I can tell you right now, he's not.
Yeah. It seems very obvious. And his account on Facebook, after they moved to WhatsApp, it was deleted. He deleted it, and her information is very limited. They never actually spoke vocally over the phone.
Oh, so this is all through text? She's falling in love with somebody through a text?
Yes, because...
Oh, man.
And she's convinced that he told her something about some sort of restrictions between calling while he's in Dubai and calling here in the States, that it's a large fee that he can't afford to pay or some sort, or that she would have to pay, so they just haven't made a phone call. And she's just...
Okay, but wait a second, Victoria. This guy is saying that he's a wealthy businessman living in Dubai. Yes. Okay. And he's saying he can't afford an international phone call.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That's exactly where we've all kind of been stumped within our department. Like, we've pointed out a lot of these factors, but I just wasn't sure what else to do, because we don't want to see her get scammed. Like, she's going to the extremities of, like, wanting to run off with this man in a sense. And it's just, we don't want to see her go down that path that we know isn't genuinely a real thing.
Well, you know what? You're a good person, I can tell. What I would do is I would sit down with her and say, I really care about you. And you're like everybody's mom here. And we want only the best for you. But we have some concerns because all this stuff that you're sharing with us, and again, we're super excited if it's true, but it doesn't sound like it is, right?
Yeah.
And, let's sit down and let's look at all this together. And, there's a website called romancescams.org. Once again, that's romancescams.org. That you can take a look at that walks you through some of these red flags that we've just been going through. And I can tell you right now, this is just a classic scam in the making. She may have given this guy some money already.
That's a concerning part for me as well, because I feel like definitely at this point, she wouldn't let us know, since we've made it clear that we think that could be a possibility. I feel like she wouldn't share that with us. So I definitely do feel like that could be a possibility already.
Yeah, so I would list everything that you've shared with me, from the pictures to not being able to afford an international phone call, which, by the way, you could make a free phone call using Wi-Fi, a free video call using Wi-Fi. Okay, it's not, there's no international charges anymore. It sounds like she's dealing with somebody who's probably located somewhere in Africa, where they train these guys how to swindle American women and try to get them hook bait and just steal from them left and right until there's nothing left for them to give. And that's not what you want for your friend. Yeah, it's not what you want for her. And so that's where I think you gotta just kind of sit down with her and tell her exactly what we've just been talking about. And let me tell you something, Victoria. If you want, I'll call her. I will speak with her and directly. I'm happy to do that. So that this way we don't have one more person who has become a statistic in a romance scam here in the United States. I put you on hold so that this way you can talk to Amber. I think she's screening today. And get you, we can exchange our details. And so this way, in case you want me to actually speak to this woman, I'm more than happy to do that. Whatever I can do to help, I've got your back. All right. How about a party trick you can use to impress all your family members and friends this summer? Okay. Using your smartphone, you can check to see if the batteries are dead in your TV, soundbar, or streaming device's remote control. Yes. Okay. You can do that. Here's how it works. First, launch the camera app on your phone. Then you aim your remote control at the phone's camera. Now, ready? Here comes the drum roll. Press any button on the remote control and to take a look at the screen. If you can see a flashing light on the camera app, it means that the remote is working fine and the batteries aren't dead. But if you don't see a flashing light, either the batteries are dead or the remote control is definitely broken. Okay, here's something else to keep in mind. Remote batteries usually last 3 to 6 months. That's it. All right, stay right where you are. We have more of your phone calls and more tips you don't want to miss ever here on The Kim Commando Show. All right, coming up, we have a great tip about how to save big money on subscriptions by using a library card, and also how to track your moods by using your phone. Could unlock a happier you. You can see like, hey, this is what is bringing me down, so I don't want to do this anymore. And before we get back to all of your phone calls, let's talk about poor air quality. It can cause all sorts of health problems, asthma, allergies, heart disease. So you need to watch what you're breathing in, and there are apps to help out. One is called Purple Air. It gets real-time air quality data from sensors located all around the globe. You can even set up alerts for specific locations like your city or town, especially like if there's a fire going on. You want to definitely tap into that. Another one, Air Now. This app is run by the government. It gives you real-time air quality information over 500 cities. Now, Google Maps also has an air quality monitor too. Just open up Maps, and then you're going to see an air quality option right there on the menu. All right, let's see. Ronnie in Greenville, South Carolina. Hi, Ronnie.
I'll probably date myself a little bit when I tell you I started out in the Tandy TRS-80 era. So,
they just came out. Ron, don't worry about it. They just came out like 5 years ago. That was it.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I've embraced technology all my life. But anyway, I've got a big issue here. I think it's probably a lot of your listeners can really sympathize with or empathize with. I made the unfortunate mistake of making it for the first time ever in my political life a contribution in the 2022 election. And since that time, I've just been inundated with an onslaught of unsolicited texts and phone calls from various numbers. And I've been trying to block them. I've gotten anywhere from 8 to 10 a day. I don't want to change my phone number. I've been looking around to see if there's an app out there that can block these numbers, or is there something?
Or you just keep playing, or Ron, you just keep playing whack-a-mole. That's all you keep doing.
Yeah. Well, I've got an iPhone Pro Max 13, and
Let's talk about some ways that we can make all these political calls and texts just stop, okay? Yeah. On your iPhone is that you can silence unknown callers. You go into settings, phone, silence unknown callers. Basically, if the person is not in your contacts, it's going to go straight to voicemail. It's a free solution. The downside is that, for example, I took my mom to the doctor, and the doctor did a follow-up phone call with me. He wasn't in my contacts. He went straight to voicemail. And that was a call that I actually wanted to take, right? So so there is always that downside. As you know, you can block callers. You can also filter unknown senders within your text messages as well. And that will put them on a separate list than that whole list that you get there on your phone. Now, if you want, there are third-party apps. They charge about $5 a month, and they've got names like RoboKiller and Truecaller and Nomo Robo. Nomo Robo, I think, is $2 a month. And they all pretty much work the same way, is that it offers real-time protection against some scammer phone numbers. And so, again, you're looking at RoboCaller, Truecaller, or Nomo Robo. And, of course, I know that you put your number on the Do Not Call registry, and we all know how fabulous that works, right? Okay. Sorry, I'm just being a little facetious there. Now, depending upon your carrier, like, for example, T-Mobile, They have something called Scam Shield, and that's actually free of charge for all T-Mobile customers. And you can just download the Scam Shield app from the App Store and just follow the handy-dandy steps to install it. If you're on AT&T, they have something called AT&T Call Protect. Again, that's the basic plan is free for AT&T customers. If you want some more coverage and more protection against the scammer calls, it's about $4 a month. And then Verizon has something called Call Filter. And that's free for, they say, just a basic. And then, of course, premium, it's going to cost you up to $8 a month. Yes, for 3 or more lines, or $3 a month just for 1 line. So you might want to take a look at your carrier solutions. And then if those don't work, then I probably look at, RoboKiller or Nomo Robo. And thanks for your call today. And thanks for being such a super fan. I love that. All right. When's the last time you went to the library? Yeah, I know. It's been a while. But even if you don't have a library card, you can still tap into the library and save a lot of money, because you can not only borrow ebooks and audiobooks from Overdrive and Libby, but it goes beyond books. Let's say you want to learn a new language. Guess what? With a library card, you can use Rosetta Stone to learn dozens of languages absolutely free. You can also borrow CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays. You can stream music. You can get movies from Canopy and FreeGal. And also, many libraries also have subscriptions to like databases like Ancestry.com. So if you're paying for this stuff, stop, okay? Don't do that anymore. Libby is probably the best app to get. That's Libby. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls you don't want to miss here on The Kim Komando Show. All right, Sharon in San Antonio, Texas.
I'm calling because my dad is suffering from dementia. And last week, he fell into the Microsoft Technical Services scam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And through some dumb luck, I was able to foil it minutes before he was about to go visit the Bitcoin ATM. So now I'm in the process of putting him in a technology bubble, essentially. Okay. And I feel like I've got a good IT guy who specializes in this for his computer. But the one vulnerable piece that I can't figure out, and the first thing I did was went to your website and then messaged y'all because I'm trying to figure out how to solve this, is that, with the Microsoft technical scam, it's an outgoing phone call, not an incoming phone call that starts this whole process. And there's no way through his phone that I can necessarily stop an outgoing phone call, but I would love to be able to know that an outgoing phone call is being made or has been made. I can go on AT&T.com and I can look at call logs, but of course, unless I'm checking every 30 seconds, that's not going to help.
So, just to let you know, the Microsoft Tech support scams, that they also work on incoming calls too, just to let you know. It's not just an outgoing call. They figured out any way that they can to steal from people. So what kind of phone does he have?
He has an iPhone.
Which one?
The 13.
Okay, good. All right, so it's a more recent one. There are ways that you can set up. You can block incoming calls. You can restrict outgoing calls to only people on contacts. And this is going to be done primarily with a child protection and monitoring app, okay? So you'd have to put something like, Custodio or something like that on your dad's phone, and then really treat it like a kid's phone, so that this way he can only call who's in his contacts, and he can only accept calls who are in his contacts. The same thing with text messages. I mean, you can do real-time monitoring of the call logs and text messages and the apps and things. And these are spy apps, basically, monitoring apps. And, they can get pretty expensive, say $50 a month. So I would probably be more inclined to recommend putting a child phone safety app on his phone, like a Custodio or, Net Nanny, whatever it may be, so that this way he can, he can only call in his contacts. Now, you have another option, is that you can, in fact, buy him another phone, okay? Tell him that this phone broke, his iPhone broke, okay? And I got you a new phone. And the new phone is a Bark phone. It's B-A-R-K, a Bark phone. It looks kind of like a souped-up Android phone. But what I like about it in this situation is that from start to finish is that this is a phone that parents give kids, and they can still take pictures and they can do whatever they want, but the parent has full control over anything that happens on that phone. So where you are located, you could actually get on his phone and see what's happening, okay? And whatever he's doing, and then you'd also have background access, but you can severely restrict on what he can do on that phone and what he cannot do. So that would probably be the best case scenario because, like you said, I mean, Sharon, you don't have time to sit there on AT&T's website and refresh and refresh and refresh and refresh, right?
I have to go to the bathroom at some point. Yeah.
at some point. So, so take a look at picking up, either a child monitoring tool, or I would probably, if it was my dad, I would go tell him, hey, you know what, I'm really sorry, Dad, but your iPhone, it just broke. I mean, it was just too expensive to fix it. So I got you this new phone, and it's a Bark phone. I think you're really going to like it, and it will give you the controls that you need, and also so your dad doesn't fall for any of these crazy scams that are out there. Oh my gosh. The Bitcoin ATM. There should be signs on these Bitcoin ATMs that say, like, if you are here because of a tech support call or because somebody said that they lost their passport or they need money, whatever it may be, turn around and go home. That's what we need. We need those big old signs. Stop right here. All right, let's see. George in Ann Arbor, Michigan. You're up next.
Before the holidays, I was looking for Christmas ideas. And I come upon smartwatches that supposedly will check your blood sugar levels for you. And I'm curious, because they were not names I recognized, I was curious as to whether any of them were any good, whether they were worth the money or not.
Well, here's the deal, is that you have smartwatches, you have fitness watches. These watches do not measure the glucose directly. What they do is they are linked to what's called the CGMs, the continuous glucose monitors. And so if you have a Samsung, a Fitbit, a Garmin, Apple, as well as there are all these other names, like you said, you don't even recognize, is that they actually will read the data from the CGMs. Now, there is an exception. It's from a Chinese company called Huawei. And I'm not quite sure how they do it, but I was reading about it recently that they do have a smartwatch that will monitor your glucose levels without being linked to these CGMs. Now, the problem with the Huawei is that you can't buy it here in the United States. It's just the way that it is. It's only available in China. It's a non-invasive blood glucose monitoring. Now, you may be familiar with Huawei, because those are the phones and all the gadgets that people in the U.S. government are not allowed to even touch or look at because everything that you do gets back to China. But I would expect that this Huawei Watch 4 Pro, as this technology is there, we're going to see more of this coming into the United States directly. But, unlike places like China, they don't have the Food and Drug Administration where you have to go through a lot of hoops and whistles in order to get your product approved if it's going to be making certain claims, which rightfully so it should. But I would imagine the likes of, say, Apple and Samsung and Fitbit and Garmin, I'm sure they're working on blood glucose levels. I mean, after all, if we look at what a watch does, it has so many wonderful things. I mean, it has an optical heart rate sensor, it does temperature sensors, it does ECGs, oxygen levels, stress, skin temperature, breathing, whatever it may be. And we haven't yet kind of broken that barrier, as well as blood pressure is also one that's going to be big coming out. So, we're going to keep our watch on this, no pun intended. And if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to our free newsletters, because that's always where I go through a lot of new products that are coming out and new products that are just on the cusp of being here or recently announced. And so if you don't already get our free newsletters, make sure that you sign up now while you're thinking about it. Head over to getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. And George, thank you for your call today. All right, that fancy smartwatch, it's fabulous, isn't it? Tracks your heart rate, your steps, your calories, and it's all great for your health. But what about your brain? What about your mind? Well, Apple now lets you monitor your emotions by using its new mindfulness app. Now, according to them, recording your emotions can enhance your overall well-being. Research backs this up. A study published by the Journal of Medical Internet Research demonstrates that people who monitor their moods increase their self-awareness and their emotional intelligence. So again, it's the mindfulness app. All right, here's the deal. Is that aside from the Kim Komando show, is that I also have a great podcast called Kim Komando Today. It's just blowing up the charts, I'm telling you. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you can watch us do the podcast live at youtube.com/Kim Komando, or you can watch it on demand. And it's just 30 minutes of just pure fun, really. I also get to interview some really great folks, too. You don't want to miss that. So it's called Kim Komando Today, wherever you get your podcasts. And again, if you want to watch it live, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11:30 a.m. But again, you can always watch it on demand. That's 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. Again, Kim Komando Today with a K, of course.
Thank you for listening to the Kim Komando Show. Here's Hour 3.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine what I would do. In San Madre, California, a guy by the name of Jason Whiteman, he was just washing the dishes inside his kitchen when he feels like something's behind him. And he turns around, and coming through the door of his kitchen is a 300-pound bear. And he actually says in this viral video, "Hello, are you nice? I don't think I'd be talking to the bear." And then he says, "Bear, bear, bear, you better be nice," as the animal starts licking his lips. So Jason sprayed the bear with water and then followed it outside where he saw another bear hanging out in his backyard. Okay. I'm not sure I could have ever been so calm. I don't know what I would do. Not for me. But you're about to get very, yes, tech smart, because every single thing is now a tech thing. I'm, of course, Kim Komando, America's digital goddess. This is the best show, the biggest show, the most trusted show, the award-winning show about all things digital, because you're about ready to get more tech smarts, because every single thing is now a tech thing. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 stations across the United States. And of course, we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando. And you can also find the Kim Komando Show as a podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Komando with a K. And a big hello goes out to all of our listeners in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force who are joining us on the American Forces Network Radio. And great sponsors help to make this show possible. So as I give out various addresses and links, I know it may be hard to keep track of them all. So that's why we have a list over at komando.com/sponsors. That's where you can find direct links to all of our money-saving deals from our sponsors. That's komando.com/sponsors. All right, you can count on me to do all the heavy lifting for you. I visit at least 35 different websites to make sure that you know what's going on in the tech world, the most important things. And here are the top 5 things that you do need to know about that are happening now. Oh my gosh, and you're not going to believe what's happening. You know how like when you go to the grocery store and you see the little printed price of, say, the spaghetti sauce underneath or the ice cream or whatever it may be that you're buying. And it's just printed right there. Well, guess what's going on? Welcome to the digital world, isn't it? Walmart is now replacing all those price stickers in the aisles with digital labels. They can adjust the total price in real time, allowing the store to change prices as often as every 10 seconds. Wow, think about this. It's hot outside. You're like, oh, honey, go get some ice cream and some ice and some soda, whatever it may be for the kids. And what used to be like, say, I don't know, $4.99, that now, because it's hot out, is suddenly $5.45. Most Walmart stores have over 100,000 products in them. The company says that a price change used to take an associate there 2 days, now only takes a few minutes with the new digital system. Oh, wow. Isn't that something? Moving into number 2, the Ascension cyber attack. You see, when a hospital gets hit by ransomware, the patient records freeze up, treatments are delayed, maybe even canceled. And then, of course, the staff is like, I don't know what to do. We have to use paper. What's going on? The hospital is not the victim. You and I are the victims. Now, get this. Last month's cyber attack on Ascension Hospital, their computers were down for weeks because one employee, listen to this, one employee downloaded a malicious file. Just one employee. Okay. You know, this is a big chain of hospitals. They have 3 million emergency room visits, and they do about 600,000 surgeries each year. Now, a nurse in Kansas City said he almost gave a life-threatening dose of narcotics to a baby because the records were so messed up. One patient in Michigan with low blood sugar went into cardiac arrest. After waiting 4 hours for test results, she died. And there are other stories that are now making the news. Okay, so the bottom line here, and we've written about it in the newsletter, we've talked about it here on the show, is that on your phone, I want you to download your medical records as a PDF. And if you're not sure how to do that, go to commando.com. It's brand new. The search works, by the way. And just say medical records PDF, and you'll have all the steps there. So this way, if a ransomware does hit a hospital, is that you're not like, okay, well, I'm not really sure what medication, I don't know what my test results last were, and blah, blah, blah. No, you have it all on your phone as a PDF file. You can do that. All right, moving on to number 3. Have you ever heard of Fisker? It was a high-end luxury electric car. Go from 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. And guess what happened to them this past week? They went from $2.9 billion in 2020 to zero in just 4 years. They filed for bankruptcy. So if you see a Fisker on sale, don't buy it, okay? Speaking of cars, I read this about self-driving cars from the University of Central Florida. It's okay for you to take a self-driving car, except when it's darker out, like at dawn and dusk, because that's when self-driving cars are more than 5 times likely to have an accident than a human-driven car. And when turning, they're twice as likely to crash. And speaking of cars, Ferrari now says, we're not putting an in-nav GPS system anymore into our cars. You know why? Because people just don't use them. People don't use them, so we're not going to put it in. Just use CarPlay or Android, whatever you want to use. And speaking of Ferrari and EVs, they also just released a new car. How much do you think a Ferrari EV is going to cost? How much? Go ahead. Throw a number out there. 200 grand, 300 grand, 400 grand, $500,000. Okay. Moving into number 4 is that according to a new report from Microsoft and LinkedIn, they surveyed about 30,000 people around the world. And they're saying, okay, if you have certain skills, then you really need to make sure that you up them. We're talking about anybody who writes, graphic designers, if you're in marketing, because essentially these chatbots, whether it's Gemini, Copilot, or ChatGPT, they can really just displace those positions. And finally, this coming in at number 5, talking about money. You know, kids today, they don't want to be doctors and lawyers and school teachers. They want to be influencers. And so if you have somebody in your family that wants to be an influencer, I want you to tell them this. In the Wall Street Journal this past week, they said only a small fraction of social media influencers actually make any money. TikTok, YouTube, and others, they're not paying as much for posts. They're not giving the sponsorship deals out anymore to influencers like they used to. According to Goldman Sachs, 50 million people are making money from influencing, which means the market is oversaturated. Last year, 48% of influencers made $15,000 or less. About 50%. Just like 50% of them made 15 grand or less. Okay, it's not a big lucrative career. Okay, here's something for you. How do you tell the difference between an influencer and a computer engineer? How do you tell the difference between an influencer and a computer engineer? Ask them to say the word BIOS. BIOS. All right, coming up, if you have a small business and we're talking about the biggest scams that are out there, we have a tech travel tip you're going to use time and time again, and how you can really avoid the light pollution and stargaze this summer. And of course, we have all of your phone calls, and you have me, Kim Commando. Hey, if you're not already getting my free newsletter, make sure that you sign up right now over at getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. Let's start with Hugh in Charleston, South Carolina. Hi, Hugh.
Well, got in touch with you because we are concerned about the AI thing. Not that I'm scared of new stuff. I've always been there. In fact, we're using AI as we speak to help us in our business. But you were telling me how websites are going to be just pretty much gone because of AI, and I'm trying to figure out what's the next thing to do.
Well, let me elaborate a little bit on that, just for everybody who was like, what did she say? Okay. With artificial intelligence, the way that it is right now, whether you're using ChatGPT, Copilot, Perplexity, Gemini, whatever it may be, is that because you're getting the answers straight from AI, that there's really no need anymore to go to a website, right? Because you don't need to go to WebMD to figure out if you have a rash, because now you can take a picture of the rash and upload it, and then AI will tell you everything that's about that rash, up to including what type of cream that you should be putting on it. And it's only a matter of time before whatever you're looking for in ChatGPT, that if you are selling products, that those products can be sold by the AI chatbot and will only select the products that it wants to sell you or provide links that it wants to provide. And so I do remember seeing your note, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, don't you sell like packets of spices and that you mix it up with like mayonnaise and cream cheese and all that other good stuff?
And Greek yogurt and hummus as well. So, but yeah, and we have recipes on our site, but that's what we do and things. So they're not a common thing to do. And we've been running this over 10 years and things, and we've been through, I used the AI originally when it first came out, and I've done it since then as well to go through and look at my code on the website and give me suggestions of how to make it, more friendly to everybody, and things, and I changed all those and things. But I'm realizing, because I'm using ChatGPT just like you are, just like you're saying, I just ask them the answers, and they come up with whatever I like.
For sure. But I will tell you that, and I'm sure you take great pride in your website, but you need a new website. You do. Okay. I'd like you to take a look at Shopify. And the reason why is that you have a lot of SKUs, okay? Yeah. And when you go to purchase, is that it just scrolls all the way down. You got to go all the way down to the bottom of the page. And it's not mobile friendly, okay? So what I'd like to see is for you to, number one, create a whiz-bang website, okay? And that whiz-bang website is, go here if you're an individual, go here if you are a distributor or you want to become a distributor, because that's how you're going to make more money, to have more people sell your product, right?
Right.
And so I would really put a heavy emphasis on being distributors, because right now you have, it looked to me about 18 to 20 different places that are selling it?
Yeah, roughly.
Okay. And, you have nothing on the West Coast. So
yeah, we haven't, for some reason, have been able to break into the West Coast.
Okay, but you know what? Some of these, like, I was looking, I'm like, you know what? This is good. I mean, you have one Cajun spice. I bet you that's amazing. Okay. And the fact that it's all healthy, gluten-free, all natural ingredients. Just, I mean, you're checking a lot of boxes, okay, for people who are now no longer wanting to, deal with processed foods or Cheetos or whatever it may be. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why we can't go into grocery stores, because they want a long shelf life, and with our products, we can't do that. We only have up to a year.
Wow. Yeah, but yes, exactly. I mean, and so, but if you have a good website, a really good website that will also integrate with, say, Facebook ads, Google Analytics, MailChimp, for your email marketing, and then
I use MailChimp now.
Okay, awesome. And so with Shopify, there are other places to go this, but I really like Shopify. I think they've done the best job out there for your particular product. I mean, if you were an artist or something, I'd say, hey, you know what, check out Squarespace. But for what you're trying to do, Shopify has all these tools. And so you go there and you pick a theme, and you can modify the theme, but it gives you a place to get started. And it is scalable. And then you can do things on the app, and you can customize it. And they have 24/7 support. And then if you ever are at a at a say a flea market or a farmer's market or whatever it may be, is that there's also point of sale tools as well. But so I would start there. Okay, once you get that website done, okay, and it's beautiful, and I want to see it when you get it done. Okay, Hugh, then you start getting into content marketing and social media videos, really short. It's like 15-second, 30-second videos. Then you start looking at micro influencers. These are people who have 10,000 followers or less, 20,000 followers or less, because their fans are more loyal than somebody who has 8 million followers, right?
All right.
And but your first step is let's fix the website first, okay? And let's get that just beautiful. And then we start looking at Google Analytics and Facebook Insights. And we know exactly where people are going, where they're not going. We have a way to sign up for your free newsletter where twice a month you send out some new recipe with some new spice that you just dreamt up and you're like, this is the greatest thing and it's going to be the greatest dip that's ever come to mankind. Okay. And then you start looking at creating a YouTube channel where you start talking about your spices and you start showing some of these recipes. And you have a really strong social media presence. But again, the whole thing, Hugh, first starts with that website. And I want you to make sure that, the domain's great. Don't get me wrong. The domain is great. And I know that you built this site a long time ago because you can see it's in the design. But look at some of your competitors, see what they're doing, and then sign up for Shopify. There is a monthly charge, of course, but you're going to make it back because you're going to have additional tools at your disposal to know where the customers are coming from, what they're clicking, what they're buying. It'll also integrate into QuickBooks. And so it's just this great solution for where you're at because you want to be ready for when AI really hits. Just starting to hit right now, just starting to hit web traffic. It's gone down maybe, 20%. I heard web traffic's going to be down 60% within the next 12 to 18 months. So we are on a fast trajectory. And so I want you to make sure that you have your website built. It also integrated in case you want to sell on Etsy, Facebook Marketplace, and you have to start expanding your horizons beyond just a Google search. If I can help any way, Hugh, I'm here for you. All right, if you have a small business, you are a huge target for scammers. So you want to stay right where you are. We'll be talking about that with Ali Seligman, our amazing content queen here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, coming up, we have, of course, some more of your phone calls and a tech travel tip that you're going to use time and time again. We're going to talk about the best ways that you can stargaze. And joining us here on the Kim Komando Show is our amazing content queen, Ali Seligman. Hi, Al.
Hi, Kim.
Every time I hear about business scams, it always reminds me of that story. And I know that you know it, but maybe some of our listeners and viewers don't. And that's when the CFO gets a phone call from the CEO and says, I need you to transfer $225,000 immediately to this vendor. And the CFO is like, boy, that sounds kind of strange, but, it really is and sounds like the CEO, and I don't want to not do it, but maybe I ought to have a video call. So they actually had a video call too. And then the CFO is like, wow, geez, it looks totally legit. What's going on? And then he, of course, where we're going with this is that he sends out the $250,000 only to find out that it went to Hungary and then it went to China and then it went this place. And so the company was out $225,000. And so, that was a big company. And then also another example is that we had some work done on the boat in Santa Barbara and Barry gets an invoice for just about $8,000. And he's like, what is this? And of course, I see the invoice and I'm like, oh, this boat's costing us so much money, whatever. And he's like, well, I don't remember getting all this work done on the boat. And then he hit reply and he asked, what was this for? And then it turns out that their Quicken account had been hacked. And on their computer.
Yeah.
Not on the cloud. And so all their clients were getting these phony invoices and a couple of people paid and there was no way to get the money back because it was sent to some foreign bank. Right?
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Well, and when it's your own money, right? If it's, okay, did we get that work done on the bank? That's one thing, keeping track of the stuff you pay for personally. It's even harder in a business though, because there's all kinds of stuff going out. Maybe there are tools, there are things that you think, well, yeah, I guess that seems right. Somebody uses that here, but maybe not. And that's why these small business scams work so well, because there's all these moving parts, right?
Yeah, and they may not have like a full-blown IT department either.
Absolutely, yes. And this stuff, I mean, it does get past the filters. We have a great IT team. We have great filter set up. Stuff still gets through. And, you know, these scammers are really smart. They know exactly the people who work at companies. They know our titles. They know what we do. And so they can be really targeted with these things and make them really believable. Like that first story you told, how insane is that? That person was smart enough to say, let's do a video chat. I want to make sure this is you. And still, it wasn't the person. It's nuts.
It wasn't him.
It's so crazy.
It just never stops.
Yeah. Well, so these phony invoices, this is actually number 1 on my list. We've got 3. You know what I just realized? I'm Bad News Alley today. It's been a while.
Oh, you are Bad News Alley. Oh, God, you know what? But, you know, it's important. Sometimes it's important to be Bad News Alley. It is.
It is, because I don't want you to fall for this crap, because it feels so bad and it fools so many people and it really does work. So phony invoices are definitely a big one. You know, they try to get by with, sometimes it'll be a few $100. You might not blink an eye, right? And so you pay it, but think about if they fool dozens and dozens of businesses, that's a lot of money for that scammer. Sometimes it's really high ticket things. So really for this, you just need to be aware as the person paying the bills of what your company actually uses. I think we have a good system here where Amber, before she pays anything, she will reach out and say, hey, Allie, I think this one is for your team. Do you use this? Is this real? She'll do the same with, you know, Jeremy or other people on her team, just to make sure, yeah, we use this. This is a real service. This isn't something that just tried to sneak in.
Well, and that's also good. It's also good for her to do, because so many times we sign up for a subscription and then maybe it's for a year or maybe it's for 3 months or even just monthly.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you know, darn it, I forgot to unsubscribe to that, you know, or maybe I thought I unsubscribed, as in the case of Otter.ai. Oh my gosh, I think I've unsubscribed like
50 times.
Yeah, it just seems like, and then it keeps like, it's like that, you know, like a bad rash. It just keeps coming back and coming back and coming back.
And that's another good thing to watch for too. If there are services, a lot of software, stuff like that especially, they'll charge you per seat, it's called. So per user, right? And maybe you had 10 people using something and now only 4 people do. You only have to pay for those 4 users. So that's a good little money-saving tip for you too. Another popular scam right now, and always, are directory scams. Someone calls you and says, I can get your small business listed in all of these directories. You're going to be number 1 on Google. No. Now, does Google call you? Maybe. They do automated calls, and these are mostly to check if you're actually open, the hours you say you're open, if it lines up with the information they have for you online. But nobody's going to call you from Google and say, if you pay me right now, we're going to get you on the front page of Google. No, that is always a scam. They're never going to take payment info from Google or really any other reputable directory over the phone. That is something that if you seek it out, yes, you can do it. You can probably get yourself a paid spot, but nobody's going to do cold outreach to your business like that. Take your credit card over the phone. That one is definitely a scam.
Yeah, and there are also the people that will call you and say, on Google Maps, I can get you to the top of the list.
Yes.
On Apple Maps, I can get you. You know, I have a friend of mine who's a plastic surgeon, and he got one of those recently. It was like, they promised that I would be like the number 1 plastic surgeon. I'm like, stop. No,
you know,
don't. Just keep getting reviews. That's how you do that.
There you go.
Good Google reviews.
Yeah, I think that is always kind of a red flag to watch for. If someone promises you, I'll get you at the top of anything, they're either a bad salesperson because they probably can't deliver that, especially for something like a plastic surgeon, right? Where there's so much competition, so many people spending so much money on those ads. So be very wary. There are companies and people and agencies out there that can get you good placement in these things. But, you know, that person that calls and says, top of the list, number 1, probably not the person you want to work with.
No, not so much.
And then we've got the old vanity award. This is, okay, I call and I say, Kim Commando, you just won Woman of the World 2024. Yes. It's you.
Oh, yes. I'm so excited.
I know. And all you have to do to collect your award is send me $500 for the shipping fee.
Yeah,
or,
of course. Yes.
Right. Or you need to sign up, pay this fee online, or we want to have you out to the awards ceremony. And if you just fill this out, we can get your plane ticket booked. These are like varying levels of scammy. There certainly are awards that are kind of, we'll call it donation based, right? You win it because you give them some money. And maybe that makes sense for your business in some cases. Maybe there's a local, I don't know, they're giving out best pizzeria. You really want that on your wall? Fine. But almost all the time, these are scams. You're never going to get anything real. Don't fall for it. If you win Women of the World or whatever, it's free. They'll give you the prize. You don't have to pay for it.
I know. You don't have to pay for it. You shouldn't have. But then, every year I win something at talkers.com, the listed talk. And then I always get these things like, don't you want like an acrylic award of that? I'm like, no, I don't need that.
No, I'm good.
Need that.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, Elsa, you're going to write these up for our newsletter, right?
Yes, these and even more. We'll tell you subject lines to look out for, lines people use on the phone, all the specifics that you need.
Well, great job as always. And if you don't already get our free newsletter, make sure that you sign up over at getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. All right. You're going to be traveling this summer. Okay. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to hit a dead zone with no internet and no data. So here's a snazzy trick. Okay. You want to take screenshots of all the important things, your airline, your flight numbers, the departure, the arrival times, also for your hotel reservations. Make sure that you have screenshots of the hotel's name, the check-in dates, the reservation numbers, whatever it may be. So this way, in case anything goes sideways, you have your evidence all ready to go. And if you can keep all that in, say, Apple Notes or Google Keep, then you have one repository with everything that you need all in one spot. All right, stay right where you are. We have more of your phone calls coming up. All right, Gary in Richmond, Virginia. Hi there, Gary.
Over the years, there's a number of subscriptions that I have that can't seem to find how to cancel the darn things. And then also on my credit card statement, I got a lot of Apple things, 10 of them or so, and can't find out what they all are. So I just wondered if there's any way to really get a hold of canceling subscriptions.
Well, listen, everywhere you turn, somebody wants you to subscribe for something nowadays, right? It's like, oh my, darn it. It's like, and don't you just love this? That, we thought, oh, this is going to be great. We're going to cancel the cable. Then we're going to get to streaming services. And then we're all looking at, well, why do we have so many streaming services subscriptions? And why are they costing so much money? And then you go to various websites like, Google, for example, or Apple, whoever it may be. And then you have your newspaper sites and it just keeps going on and on and on. So here's the deal. Is that under your Apple ID is that you can look at subscriptions and you can cancel some subscriptions there. Okay. But the problem is that if you didn't sign up through your Apple ID, you're not going to see the subscriptions located in that particular area. So that's where these apps come into play that will actually help you cancel your subscriptions. Now, one of them is called Rocket Money. It's been around for a long time, and it's actually the one that I use when I guess I don't even know if I should tell you this, Gary. I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, that when I installed Rocket Money, and they are a sponsor of our podcast, by the way, when I installed Rocket Money, it found $458 worth of subscriptions that I had no idea. I had no idea that I had signed up for these. And I think, I'm going to blame some of this on my husband just because he's not here and I can do that. But still, so what Rocket Money does is that it will track your subscriptions. It gives you alerts to any upcoming bills. It tells you about any price changes, because that's also a shenanigan that some of these sites use, is that they sign you up for one price and then they try to renew you at a completely different price. And they do take a fee if they actually lower your bills, like, for example, on your cable, your internet, your phone bill. Also, they'll try to get you a better deal, like, for example, at, say, the New York Times website. So a lot of people get Freaky Friday when they first use Rocket Money, because what happens, Gary, is it's going to be asked to be tied into your bank account. Well, the reason why it's doing that is so that it can see everything that you're subscribed to, as well as your credit cards. And so a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know if that's safe. Well, I'm telling you, I know I was a little freaked out when it asked me to do that, so I assume that you will be too. because you're like, oh, this doesn't feel safe to me. I did all the homework, and I actually went and looked at all the encryption standards that they're using, and it was safe. So don't worry about going ahead tying that together. But again, I saved $458 a year in subscriptions by using Rocket Money. Does Rocket Money have competitors? Yeah, one's called Trim, another one's called Bobby. I have not used either one of them. And so if you are looking to find all your subscriptions and cancel them, just go to rocketmoney.com/Kim. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. And then we have, let's see, JB in Columbia, South Carolina. Hi, JB.
I've been using Quicken for about 30 years, but for home and business, but now it's just home. And I'm looking for an alternative just for checking money market and reconciliation of the checking account.
And Quicken is asking you to pay up. Is that it?
Every year, $59.95. Yes. And then they slow the service down and put ads up there. Yes.
And you're like, okay, all right, I'm tired of this. Right? I know. I hear you. I've been getting these calls a lot lately. Just to let you know, I don't think you're alone. There's a free financial accounting software program that's been around for a long time. It's called GNU Cash, GNU Cash, GNU Cash, GNU CASH. Full featured, will actually import your Quicken files. Does double entry accounting. You can do your stock accounts, your mutual funds, your checkbook, transactions, all kinds of stuff like that. And like I said, it's absolutely free. What I like about GNU Cash is that there are just tons of tutorials that go along with it. Because if you just go on YouTube, like, how do I set it up? You're just going to find all kinds of things. There are some other pay programs like Money Dance and Countabout and YNAB. YNAB. Come on, JB. What do you think that stands for? YNAB.
I have no clue, but
you need a budget. You need a budget. That's what
knowledge. Okay, yeah, we've got that. Okay,
yeah. So I think just real quick, down and dirty, just get GNU Cash. I think it's going to be exactly what you're looking for. And then you can save all that money on Quicken and, not all that money, but then you can take your lovely bride out for dinner or something like that. Again, GNU Cash, you can find it. Just Google search it. I think it's at a .org site. And JB, thanks for your call. All right. I've got something for you. Speaking of Quicken. Okay. What's accounting? Okay. Something Italians learn in preschool. Get it? Like, what's accounting? Okay. I know. If you have to explain it, it's just a bad joke. If you live in a city like me, it's easy to feel disconnected from the stars. We have bright lights, towering big buildings, and smog. But there is a way to escape all the city glow and find yourself under a beautiful blanket of stars. There's a website called darksitefinder.com. Once again, that's darksitefinder.com. It's just a treasure trove of various places worldwide where you can see the stars away from city lights, okay? And then another one that you want to get is the Sky Safari Legacy app. Now, this is fun, too. With this app, you just point your phone at the sky, and then it will tell you exactly what you're looking at, okay? The planets, the stars, the other objects. So once again, it's called Dark Site Finder, and then an astronomy app for your phone is Sky Safari Legacy. Isn't that just stellar? Ooh, good one. Hey, make sure that you sign up for my free newsletter. You're going to love it over at getkim.com.
Thanks for listening to The Kim Komando Show. Here's Hour 4.
In my never-ending quest to keep us both up to date with this fast-changing world of technology, wow, a new type of video is trending on social media. You know what it is? Take a pregnancy test with me. Once again, yes, take a pregnancy test with me. Women, sometimes couples, they do everything from unboxing the pregnancy test to taking a video, on the toilet, to the great reveal. I mean, that's something that I never, ever thought of doing in my life. But millions and millions and millions of views on these things. I guess I should really ask, is there anything people are not showing on social media? Nope. And on that happy note, welcome everyone. I'm Kim Commando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you. And you're about to get more tech smarts because every single thing now is truly a tech thing. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top stations throughout the United States. And of course, we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Commando. And you can also get us as a podcast commercial-free over at Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Now, let me tell you something. Great sponsors help to make this show possible. And I always negotiate some type of exclusive money-saving deal with them. So to see all the deals and the special links that you need, because I know I pass out all these unique URLs, just head to one spot in case you ever need them. It's commando.com/sponsors, commando.com/sponsors. Alrighty, every single day, whether it's a work day or a weekend or a national holiday, you can count on me to scan over 35 different sites and talk to industry insiders to make sure that we both know the most important tech news. And here are the top 5 things that are happening right now. And we're going to start with deleting a text message from your iPhone. When you do it, is it really gone? Is it really gone? Well, here's a lesson in life from a man who learned the answer the hard way. And he's actually suing Apple for more than $6 million, saying that Apple is totally lying about deleted text messages. Apparently, this guy set up meetings with prostitutes on his iPhone using text messaging. And after the encounter, he deleted the text, so of course his wife would never find them. But she did. And when you delete an iPhone text, it's actually moved to the deleted text folder. There it stays for at least 30 days. So to fully remove the text, you have to go to the deleted text folder, delete it again, and still, it's never really gone. Email, voicemail, text messages are forever recorded on a cloud server somewhere. So just remember, you never ever want to text or email anything that you don't want to see one day in court, or maybe your spouse or significant other seeing as well. Moving on to number 2, it was only a summer ago that vacations meant getting a great deal through Vrbo or Airbnb. But after all those hidden spy cam complaints and those really creepy landlords, both Airbnb and Vrbo, they have pretty much run their course. Well, this summer, hotels are winning. And now the big discount air travel websites, they're getting a hit. I'm talking about Expedia, Orbitz, Kayak, and the others. They've just reshaped travel for millions with these huge discounts. But millennials, Gen Zers, boomers are going back to the airlines for their tickets, where there's no worry about scammy, phony reservations, upselling you for all these things that you don't need, and those countless steps to change or even cancel reservations. Now, Expedia is still doing well when it comes to flying in large groups, at least for now, and discount travel sites are still doing okay. But for the first time, the skies look gloomy and very unfriendly. Moving on to number 3, you need to talk to your kids about sexting, sending nudes, whatever you want to call it. It isn't as taboo as it used to be. But the problem is once that picture leaves a phone, you lose totally all control over it. The recipient can do pretty much anything that they want with the photo and face no consequences. Now, your kids may not know this. A mother from Cobb County, Georgia knows this firsthand, though. Alberta Poole told Fox 5 in Atlanta that her daughter is bright and she's smart, but when a boy in her 8th grade class at Floyd Middle School kept pressuring her to send a nude photo to him, she didn't. It didn't take a moment for that photo to be spread to half of her 8th grade class on Google Chat. Oh my gosh, could you imagine? Her 13-year-old daughter's devastated. The mother's looking for any repercussions. She wants charges. None have been made. No justice within the school. No real apology. It's just treated as something normal. It just happens like every day. So talk to your kids. Tell them the odds. If they send a nude, they need to know the risk they take, that naked pic could spread everywhere. This coming in at number 4, it's only June and we've already seen some wild weather across the U.S. Chicago, for example, just set a new daily heat record of 97 degrees. The air feels like 105. So you need to stay prepared and you need the right weather apps. Okay, my go-to is Weather Underground for local forecasts. What's great is that if you live in sweltering heat, you can set up customer alerts for those rare nice days that you want to bike or hike outside. Plus, it gives you important info on air quality and UV risks. Now, if you want to look ahead, say you're going on vacation, you're planning a family reunion, whatever it may be, that's when you want to use the AccuWeather app. It gives you a 2-week forecast so you can get an idea of what the temps are going to be well in advance. And finally, if you do live in an area prone to extreme weather, check out Storm Radar. It has advanced storm tracking, daily and hourly reports, and live national weather alerts for tornadoes, thunderstorms, and hurricanes. And finally, this coming in at number 5, X, or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. It really has been an impossible place to get any reliable information. And that like button made it even worse. I mean, what does a like really mean? I mean, if you like something, do you wholeheartedly embrace it? Or do you find it amusing? Or was it clever? Or was it just kind of icky? There was this universe of nuances in that like. So for well-known X users, I'm talking about politicians, business leaders, celebrities, wannabes, whatever it may be, liking something was polarizing. So X says they no longer like likes. Okay, so why did they stop the likes? Well, they say user privacy. I don't think so. I think it has to do with X now allowing porn to be posted and shared on the site. A like here and a like there might show the world a person's side better hidden. All right, let me tell you what's coming up in this jam-packed show. We're going to talk about how you can make grocery lists in no time at all and share them. Also, a letter from my listener mail. What exactly is the dark web? There's a hidden list that tells you what apps are listening. And there's a side hustle. Let me tell you, it's kind of funny when you think about it. You could make extra money by washing other people's clothes. Yes, of course. And then we have all of your phone calls you don't want to miss. And me, Kim Commando. Hey, before we get this tech party started, really, I just want to let you know about our free newsletter. You can join over 500,000 folks who get tech smart 5 minutes or less every single day. Sign up right now over at getkim.com. It's super easy to unsubscribe, just one click if you don't love it, but you will. We have a 4.92 star rating out of 5 stars. Yes, everybody who gets it just loves it. And if you already get my free newsletter called The Current, make sure that you forward it to someone you know, somebody else who needs some tech smarts. And again, just sign up over at getkim.com. All right, let's see. Let's start with Scott in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hi there, Scott.
You know what? They may refer to you as the digital goddess, but in our house, we call you the goat of technology. How about that?
I like that. That's much better. I like that. That's awesome.
So let me tell you about my son, Sage. He's 20 years old, something you're familiar with. He's going to school at the University of Pittsburgh for computer science.
Wow, that's awesome. He's a smart kid.
So last semester, a course he had to take, it was called Data Structures 2. The programming language that they use is Java.
Okay.
Part of his curriculum is he had to do 5 projects. The professor had certain things that they had to do. If you did everything right, just for doing that, you got 32 out of 100 points.
All right.
So one of his projects, he was 1 minute late. Emails the teacher, said, you know what, I'm sorry, I was working on this code. You know, I had other finals and everything else I had to do. And he's like, you know, is there anything you can do? Comes back, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. You would get a 0. Goes to the dean, asks the dean, is there anything that you can do so I can, you know, maybe get partial credit or something? Said, let me talk to the teacher. Talks to the teacher. The dean emails my son back. He says, I'm sorry, the 0 stands because it's in the syllabus. So basically he has to retake the class, but this is where I need your expertise because I believe you went to school for computer science. Am I correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great. So these 5 projects that he has to do, if you do everything that he asks for, you get a 32. So the difference is what he does is he uses a secret tester to test your code, to see how vulnerable it is, to see how fast it works. And the problem is that my son doesn't know what he's testing for. So, you know, you think you do everything right on the code, he uses a secret tester and you get a 50 or a 60.
So he's not telling you that he's testing it for accuracy or speed, the documentation that goes in the code, nothing?
Basically what he's telling you is, you know, do your coding. You need to complete a task, A to B, but I'm going to test everything through A to B, and I'm not going to tell you what I'm testing for because I'm going to use my secret tester.
All right, whatever.
So I'm thinking he's looking at vulnerability, how fast your code runs. I don't know, I don't know what else, but I'm trying to figure out like what I can do to help him with his coding. I mean, you go there and the teacher's assistants that will help you. There's like a mile-long line. You can never get in there.
Yeah, a lot of these TAs, and I know this is very general, a lot of TAs are just doing it because they have to, or they get a reduced, reduced tuition, or All right. When Ian was having trouble in school, I found a tutor, and the tutor was expensive. I'll tell you that. But because, like I explained to him, just because you aced USC doesn't mean that, you can sit here and go, all right, here I am,
Right.
This is a whole different animal. And that's what your son has. Because, the one thing about programming is that there are, which I'm sure it's really like if A to B happens, B to C happens, and if then or else statements. That's really what it boils down to. And
right.
I mean, I remember I had one professor who was really into documentation within the code and to say what the next routine did. Because if you don't have the documentation in the code about what the routine does, then you probably stole it from somebody else. There are some things that people have done in code that, like, I was an expert witness years ago with a case against somebody had stolen some code from Apple. And I was tasked with analyzing the code. So I found a routine in looking at the code that didn't do anything, meaning it made a call, it went out to first base, and it came right back to the same spot.
Right.
Well, Apple put that in their code so that if somebody ever stole their code, that they could ask whoever stole the code, what does that routine do? And they came up with this pile of BS when really the code didn't do anything.
Right.
He may be looking for things like that see.
It's a big secret.
Yeah, I know. Okay, but he's probably using AI. That's what I think he's probably using. Okay, so there are different AIs that Sage can use.
Okay.
ChatGPT, you can upload code and it will analyze the code and tell you whether or not it's going to work, or ways that you can fine tune it, ways that you can fix it. GitHub, that's GIT Hub, has something called Copilot that can also help with improving code. JUnit, we can give you a list of these. I'm going to send you a list of these. Okay.
I appreciate that.
So this way, Sage can look at them all and say, okay, here's one. I could try this one. Now, John is our IT genius here at the show. Everybody needs an IT genius. I happen to be yours. He happens to be mine. Okay, but because you came through me, I get to go through John. Okay, so I asked John. I said, so, John, what do you think about this? He gave me two sites. One's called diffblue, DIFFblue.com. And he said it's a whole community that kind of works together on code. And, and then another one's called Code Rabbit that does line-by-line reviews and gives you some fixes along the way and stuff like that. So,
I mean, my son, there's no harm in, with somebody repeating a course. If he has to take it over and over again, so be it. He'll learn from it. He'll look back when he gets his degree and he said, you know what, I earned this. Now let's see what I can do in the real world.
Well, I graduated from ASU and then I got a job at IBM. When I was working at IBM, I got a letter in the mail that said I didn't graduate because I got a D on a computer class. And so I made an appointment with the teacher and he didn't want to see me. So I went to the dean and I said, okay, I think I had like a 92% on all the tests and an 88% on all the homework, but I never went to class. So that's why he gave me a D. I said, well, maybe he's just a crappy instructor. I told the dean that. And, and this was an adulting moment because we opened up this call with an adulting moment because I couldn't go to my parents. Oh, that whole graduation thing didn't happen. Okay. Couldn't go to IBM. Oh, remember when you said I graduated and I was like 19 years old and this was going to be great, but I didn't graduate. I couldn't do that. So in the dean, and he said, well, there's nothing I can do about that because that was in the syllabus that you had to be in class. And I said, well, yeah, but I was working. But I still did everything. He's like, he didn't want to do anything. So I said to him, even today, I don't know how I pulled this out of my butt. But I said to him, listen, I'm a statistic that you need. And he looked at me like, what? I said, I am almost 20 years old. I'm a female. There's no other women around in this class who happen to get a job out of school for IBM. Okay. Yeah. You need me. You don't need me back in the class for another 6 months while I retake this.
Right.
And he looked at me and he said, I will take that into consideration. And then 3 days later, I was notified that I got a C.
That's amazing, man. Good. You know what? Let's say the squeaky wheel, the grease gets the squeaky wheel, whatever they say, that's fantastic.
Yeah, but I mean, it does for sure. So, I'm a stat you need, buddy. You better just calm down right now. So, hey, give those all to Sage. And if Sage needs my help, he wants to talk to John, we're here for him as well. Okay? Scott, thanks for your call. All right. Have you ever tried to organize a shopping list of like who's bringing what for a church function, a family get together? It's just a nightmare to do that in a group text or email string. So instead, I want you to be smarter and use a shared note-taking app like Google Keep, Apple Notes, Microsoft OneNote, or even Evernote. They let you create shared notes that can be accessed and edited by multiple people. So you just simply create a new note for your shopping list and then share it with everybody that you want to collaborate with. I mean, another way you could do it is to use a dedicated shopping list app. Some popular ones include AnyList and Our Groceries. Just make a new list and then invite others to join. Now, with these apps, they also have this side benefit. You can remind everybody the day before what they're supposed to bring. But remember, there's always that one person be like, oh, I forgot. Stay right where you are. We have more tips and phone calls coming up. Hey, coming up, it's something that you've wondered for I don't know how long. I mean, you say something to a family member or a friend. I want to go hiking in Patagonia. And then all of a sudden you hop online and then what do you see? Ads for hiking in, yes, Patagonia. I'm going to tell you how you can find a hidden list that tells you exactly what apps are listening. And then later on, there's a great side hustle you might want to do this summer. I'm talking about you can make some serious money washing other people's clothes and folding it. I don't know about you. I hate laundry. But if you love laundry, I'm going to tell you more about that, and we have your phone calls. But before we get to all of that, letter from our listener mail about, what exactly is the dark web? Okay. The dark web has this reputation for shady dealings, illegal drugs, money laundering, and just general crimes. It's where stolen credit card details and IDs, they just end up for sale. It's hard to believe, but scammers have been buying and selling on a platform there for so many years. It kind of looks like an underground online shopping site. You can purchase ransomware kits, phishing campaigns, along with lists of email addresses and even customer service reps to deal with your victims. Now, the dark web is not indexed by Google, which means that its websites, I'm going to throw another term at you, called onion sites, are hidden and encrypted. So you need specific tools to get into the dark web that offer anonymity. So the question is, why don't we just shut this crime-ridden dark web down? You can't. It's too decentralized. Plus, the dark web has some legitimate uses for privacy, free speech, and also circumventing censorship. All right, let's see. Lori in Providence, Massachusetts. Hi there, Lori.
I'm calling because, over the last few years, my eyesight has kind of been getting worse in different ways. I do picture framing for a living, and as a hobby, I play music in a few different bands. And, I'm looking to kind of make it easier to read music because, I'm having some trouble right now. Sometimes it looks foggy and, you got to really be able to see, the sharps and flats and all that kind of stuff.
Of course, yes.
So I know that there's someone in one of the bands who has like a laptop that and he has the music on digital files, and, he's able to, he feels it's easier to read and he can scroll through it. And, so I'm thinking too, when I look at like I have Apple devices, but I have like an iPhone and my laptop. And particularly, on some occasions, it's nice to have the white on black
For
option,
sure.
but then sometimes the other way is good too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just wondering if you have any recommendations for, some type of something I could get that I could do that with.
Well, it's interesting. I was getting my nails done yesterday. And I looked at the manicurist next to me and I said, "What's wrong with your eyes?" And she looked at me, she goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "No, I said, "What's wrong with your eyes?" And she's like, "I've done nails for 30 years and nobody has ever said or asked me what's wrong with my eyes."
Huh.
And I said, I said, "I can see it." I said, "I can see it." And she said, "Yeah." She goes, "I'm blind in my right eye."
Oh.
And I said, really? I said, I used to be too. And I said, what happened to you? And she said, I was struck in the eye as a kid with a pencil. And I said, I was struck in the eye with a stick when I was a kid.
Oh, boy.
And so anyway, we just struck up this conversation, and I convinced her. She hadn't had her eyes checked, would you believe, for over 20 years.
Oh, my God. Wow.
And there are so many new advances. And then I showed her my Instagram account, and I said, look, I had a cornea transplant in May. And in May, my eyesight in my right eye was over 2,400. We just stopped at 2,400. And as of last week, after the transplant, is that I can see 20/60 right now, but I still have 10 stitches in my eye. And the doctor said, my vision potential is 20/25.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that
that is interesting you say that, because one of the things going on with me is that I have Fuchs disease, and what is in the future, it seems, is to have, as you say, it's a corneal transplant, some of the tissue. I guess I've got that coming, but, so that's good to hear, the good result you're having with it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 100%. But it's my point being that, a lot of things you take for granted, and then you're like, whoa, what happened? Yeah. What happened?
Yeah.
So you can certainly use a laptop like your friend, especially if you prefer a larger screen. But it's not as convenient to hold it as it is to say if you could get an iPad, 12.9 inch, and then put that on a stand. And what's nice is with the iPad is that you're going to have a sheet music digitally, and you can use apps like Fourscore, Mobile Sheets, or Newsic is another really popular one. But then you can have a foot pedal that works by Bluetooth with the tablet. And then you can go to the next page just by tapping your foot.
Yeah. I heard there was something like that.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so great. And then you have adjustable fonts and zooms and, battery life. So depending upon how long your guys are going to be playing, is that you may need an external battery pack, or just make sure you can keep it plugged in. But, you mentioned that high contrast mode. Basically, it's going to be white notes on a black background, or vice versa, depending upon the lighting conditions. But I'm telling you, this is a solution made for you, 100%. Because this way you can make that size and that contrast exactly to your specification. And by being able to just use your foot to move to the next page on that sheet music, how great is that going to be? Because you're not going to be like, oh, hold on. What instrument do you play?
Well, my main instrument is the alto saxophone.
Okay, yeah, so you can't just put the sax down and go, wait a minute, before we go to this next note, okay, I just need to get to the next page. No, so you're going to I would, depending upon how big you need that screen, but I think a tablet would actually give you a whole bunch more flexibility as far as being able to find the right stand at the right height. Then you have the adjustable font size, zoom, and again, that Bluetooth pedal. And again, the apps, they have names like Fourscore, Mobile Sheets, it's only on Android, and Newsic. But ask this guy what he's using, and then maybe you can actually try it out before you go buy anything. Okay? Just say, hey, you know what, can I just try out your whole setup for like 10 minutes? That's all you need. Probably even less than that. I mean, you're a musician. You will know in just a few minutes whether or not this is going to be the right solution for you. Because let me tell you, there's nothing like actually sitting down and trying something before you commit yourself and you go full board into it. Hey, Lori, thank you for your call today, and best of luck with your eye surgery. I have a feeling it's going to go fantastic. All right. Are your apps listening to everything you say? There's a hidden list on your smartphone that will tell you, and there's a way to stop the listening. You see, when you install an app, do you actually ever read the app's terms and conditions? Nope. No one does. But in all that legal mumbo jumbo, you may have given apps your permission to listen using your phone's microphone and collect data and sell that data to who knows who. So if you want to find out which apps are really doing this, if you're on an iPhone, just open Settings and then go into Privacy and Security and then Microphone. This will pull up a list of all the apps that uses the phone's microphone that could be listening in. So just toggle off the apps you don't want picking up any conversations. Now, if you're on Android in your settings menu, I want you to find the Apps Permission Manager and disable the microphone for any apps that should not be using it. Again, it's on your iPhone and it's under Settings, Privacy, and Security, and on Android, the Apps Permission Manager. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls and how you can make some bank washing other people's clothes. I know, sounds like a crazy side hustle, doesn't it? All right, I need two things from each and every one of you. Number one, the best way for me to continue to grow the show is for you to just tell one person. That's it, just tell one person about the Kim Komando Show. And also, I want to hear more about what you want to know about. So go to Komando.com, which, by the way, it's a brand new website. You're going to love it. Go to Komando.com and then just hit the link that says Ask Kim. All right, let's see. Lewis in Lubbock, Texas. Hi there, Lewis.
I used to travel quite a lot by highway, and I always took you along for the ride. And I have recommended your site to many people who are having some sort of problem, not necessarily all digital, but just some sort of problem.
Oh, well, thank you. You're awfully sweet. And let me tell you, Lewis, you're a good driver. You are. You're a good driver. You scared me that one time on the ice. Just want to let you scare me that one time.
Well, that once is okay. I mean, that just keeps you awake.
Yeah, there is that. 100% on that. So what's going on? How can I help you out?
I'm calling in reference to my daughter. She's an adult. She's been having an awful time finding some employment that she can do from home. She's a summa cum laude Bachelor of Arts Business Administration major.
Wow.
She's a self-starter. She's dedicated. And she has this weakened immune system, which took her out of the job market for a while. But now she's trying very hard to get in. And she's contacted a lot of these job shops on the web. I won't mention them by name, but you probably know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, they have been unsuccessful because each client requires literally days of unpaid training. And sometimes the training overlaps, but it's still required to do. And then once she gets a job, adherence is defined as being available. And if unavailability is due to a network problem or a server problem, that doesn't count.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can only work for one of these people, one of these clients at a time through most of these job shops.
Mm-hmm. Well, so what you want to do at that point is you want to go direct to an employer, okay? And so you can, for example, pick some big companies like Amazon, right?
Okay.
Amazon has a whole section of remote career opportunities that instead of going to a particular service or agency, is that you go to a big company. So if there are companies that I would ask her companies that she respects, large corporations that she might want to work for, and then to go to their career section and then to look for remote opportunities, remote jobs, and to see which ones that she would like to apply for. Because even though a lot of the workforce is going back, I mean, let's face it, the pandemic's over, and I know people are still getting COVID, and I know people are sick. I have a friend of mine who's been sick for 2 weeks with COVID. But for the most part, people are back in the office, and we are here at the show and inside the studios. But if you're looking for opportunities, there are still work at home opportunities. But I think you're going to probably find them within the bigger organizations. Now, you can go to sites like LinkedIn and Indeed and ZipRecruiter and FlexJobs and look for work at home opportunities. And you may find those too tied with the bigger corporations. But I just want you to be careful that there's a lot of scams sometimes on these sites too, where you're going to have to pay money in order to make money. So that's why, I like to recommend going to the bigger companies if she wants to just work for one company. And again, look at their career section and then see what type of gigs might be available there. Also at Komando.com, we've got a lot of links to work at home opportunities that are legitimate. Anything from being an online juror to a tutor, to being a virtual assistant, a call center representative, whatever it may be, and just hit work at home inside the search box, and I'm certain that a whole bunch of things will pop up for you. Louis, thank you so much for being such a long-time listener and first-time caller. What took you so long, huh? You're my buddy. We traveled the far and wide together. If I can lend a hand afterwards, Louis, just reach out. I'm here for you. Hey, a couple of things I want to talk about before we talk about washing clothes and making money. Number one is podcasts. I do a podcast Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You can watch me do it live on youtube.com/Kim Komando. And Andrew Babinski's with me. He's a call screener friend of mine forever. Ali Seligman, she's our amazing content queen. She joins us too a couple of days a week. And so that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, 2:30 p.m. on the East Coast. And it's about 30 to 45 minutes where we talk about what's going on in the tech world that day. Now, of course, you can also get Kim Komando Today as a audio podcast. So wherever you get your podcasts, just search for Komando with a K. Once again, that's Komando. I know so many people are like, is that Komando with a C? No. They spell it the wrong way. It's Komando with a K. Komando. All right, let's talk about washing clothes. Here's a little fun fact. You and your family wash about 300 loads of clothes a year. So that makes you pretty much a pro at it, right? So why not use that skill to maybe get some cash on the side? I mean, think about how much time it takes to wash, dry, and fold your own clothes. Now, Whirlpool says the average wash cycle takes about an hour to complete. So for people on the go, that's a lot of time. So if you're on the hunt for a few extra bucks, you can take advantage of this. There's an app called SudShare, that's S-U-D, SudShare. It's a platform for people to wash and fold other people's clothes to earn money. Now, to get started, you just download the app, SudShare, you sign up, and you accept jobs in your area. Let me tell you something. This is something I would never, ever thought that I would ever talk about on the Kim Komando Show, is making money by washing people's clothes. Anyway, from there, you go to pick up your client's dirty clothes. You wash, dry, and fold them. You return them the next day. So how much money can you make? You can make about $20 an hour. And the app says the minimum per order is $15 and promises you'll make at least that. Hey, just a quick reminder, make sure that you get my free newsletter. Sign up now at getkim.com.